Last season, Justin Herbert pulled off one of the greatest rookie seasons we've ever seen. A passer rating of 98.3, 31 touchdowns, just 10 interceptions. The only real issue with his season was Bill Belichick and the Patriots. That one game blew him out 45-0. So this year, a much better Chargers team gets to play the New England Patriots with a chance for revenge. And what happened? New England ran completely different concepts than they did the first time, and it led to Justin Herbert having his second worst performance in the NFL so far in his young career. So let's start off with something like this. This is something that, I want to start off with some good that we saw from Herbert, because it wasn't like a bad day by Justin Herbert, I didn't think at all, actually. This play was an example of kind of what I think not to do. I was surprised to see so much cover 3 by the Patriots when I watched this game, just because I was thinking like, okay, last year you had so much success not doing this. So kind of an odd choice, but maybe they just felt like given their makeup this year, they wanted to change stuff up, although these teams are relatively similar, so I don't know. Anyways, what you're going to see is sort of a deep out route against cover 3, which can absolutely work, working on J.C. Jackson, who's a really good corner. This is Keenan Allen, who's running the route, a really good receiver. So it's an interesting play, and, it's something that can work. Watch what happens. Look, Herbert takes a snap, runs a play action, and you're going to see offensive line does a tremendous job, and Herbert does a good job of navigating the pocket as well, stepping up there. You look down the field, Keenan Allen is open down the field, so you can absolutely, make this throw if you're Herbert. Herbert is going to throw this ball down the field. So good job by Herbert on that play. Really good job by Keenan Allen and by the offensive line. There were plays that worked. This was not a complete mess by any means. The issue was that there just wasn't enough of these. New England did a really good job on defense of covering, which is such an important part of defense that people don't pay enough attention to, is how well do you cover. This is going to make things work a lot better. And after some early success, we did see a little bit of a lull with the Chargers game. This is a good example, I think, of kind of some of the issues that happened with the Chargers, where what's going to happen is that it's again going to be a cover 3 zone. This time it's going to be a different route. It's, a little bit less fancy. You're just running deep, just a go route, which, listen, these things can work. There is a safety down the field, but just one safety down the field. That's all you have. So, and with Keenan Allen on the other side of the field, he might be looking in that direction instead. We don't know. So that's another interesting factor here. New England is a team that loves to double team, especially when you have your best corner on the other side of the field, where best corner is covering the go route that I have on the screen. J.C. Jackson is. But you have Mike Williams running the go route, so it's not a horrible situation. However, watch what happens. Justin Herbert takes the snap, and you're going to notice that, okay, at this point when Herbert has to make his decision, because you have to make your decisions pretty quickly, it's not wide open, but it's a fine opportunity to take a chance here. Herbert is going to throw this one down the field, and it's just a bit too far. It wasn't horrible, but just a bit too far. Maybe you could argue Williams should have gotten there quicker. I don't know. I'll let you be the judge. But there was a lot of that. There was a lot of just misses on basically very high degree of difficulty plays, and that's kind of your goal as a defense. You're rarely going to be in a situation where you can make a play just not be able to work whatsoever, but if you can make things have a less than 10% chance, you're essentially doing the same thing over a large number of snaps, unless you're going up against an insane offense that also is playing at their best, which basically never happens. I also want to talk about the 2 interceptions. In my opinion, neither one of these were really Justin Herbert's fault. So we'll start off with the first one. What's going to happen here is that it's man coverage, and you see the concept that they have going up against. It's a pretty good concept against man. This is the kind of coverage New England ran a lot of, and part of me just wonders if the reason why we saw New England play a good amount of zone is they just expected, okay, the Chargers are going to have a lot of plays that they're expecting us to play man, us to, blitz a lot. So let's just do the complete opposite, and they won't have a lot of plays to go with, which I actually think they did a pretty good job of. I think that's probably what they did. So anyways, it's going to be a man coverage play. You have, a receiver in the slot who's going to run a route just quickly over the middle, and your halfback essentially follows him. This can work against zone. It can also work against man, though. watch what happens. Look, right when this play starts, so the linebacker who's, covering the halfback is a little bit slow in getting over there just because there was traffic in front. I also should mention that I know there was sort of a zone kind of that they were getting into of the safety's zone, but he's way too far deep. It's a robber concept. He's too far deep. So this is just a true one-on-one matchup. Shouldn't get you a ton of yards, but should get you some. Herbert again makes this throw. It was maybe a bit high, but still gets tipped and intercepted. That's unlucky right there from Herbert. You could argue the throw should have been better. I agree. I think there was a bit of missed throws from Herbert, but it just seemed like the slight missed throws he had this game hurt him way more than they typically hurt him in a previous game, in previous games, and that's, credit to New England, credit to this Patriots defense. The other interception wasn't really any credit to New England, quite frankly. It was just a mistake, and this was a back-breaking mistake. But again, this is kind of what the Patriots have always capitalized off of, right? So it's going to be a cover one blitz again. So, again, we saw a lot of these, coverages we were expecting later on in the game, it's just such a clever thing Belichick did of play a lot of zone early on, play kind of the thing that you're better at later on in the game when, the Chargers are probably now, coming out of halftime saying, all right, well, now we got to start running more zone beaters. Well, now you're stuck against man coverage. They were guessing all game. I mean, really, even the plays that worked against zone were really like plays that could work against man either. So that's kind of funny. Anyways, you're probably a little confused as what you're seeing on the screen in terms of the offensive route I'm showing. So the tight end is going to start off blocking, but then he's going to just run a check down route. And him and Herbert aren't on the same page. These are the two routes that he could be running. However, when Herbert takes the snap, he, at this point, okay, you can gain some yards here. It's not going to be anything fantastic, but you can certainly gain some yards. Herbert is under the impression he's going to be running a flat route, which means he just runs and basically turns his head to his right, and that's where the ball will come towards. So for Herbert, making this throw is a fine decision. Also, one thing you have to factor in as well is for Phillips right here, the Patriots defensive back. He's doing a great job of still looking at the quarterback. He has room in front. Hey, take an eye at the quarterback, because if there is a missed throw, maybe you could do what you're going to end up doing. So as you see, when Herbert does make a mistake, and not even really a mistake, when Herbert wasn't on the same page with one of his players, it results in a pick six. That's kind of what I mean when these slight mistakes by the Chargers just matter way more in this game than they matter in typical games. And that's not unlucky. That's just credit to New England. Maybe a bit lucky, but also definitely impressive by New England. So yeah, I mean, as a whole, listen, Belichick gives Herbert trouble. Belichick gives everyone trouble, especially young quarterbacks. We all know that about Belichick. Herbert's had a couple tough games. No real reason to be long-term concerned from Herbert. And even, I didn't even think this game was really that bad. It was more the Chargers offense as a whole. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.